then the Minister to wrap.
Very good, Councillor. I do, I suppose, have to give this a cautious welcome. I do welcome the situation as one of the few, very, very few benefits that came from COVID. The outdoor seating areas, which was contentious for many years, when in many towns, and especially towns, you know, with the licence fee and with the charges and with the costs. And I welcome that they're going to be waived by Minister O'Brien as well. And we need to put this into proper legislation. But it needs to be done sensitively. And many years I've seen his work. It's worked good, and we need to have it, you know, policed properly as well. And you know, tidy towns and other groups and chambers of commerce welcome it. But when we have a town around it and so many dereliction right next door to it or beside it, just doesn't look right. And that is, of course, in many towns. And earlier speakers, I think Deputy Daly said about, you know, the bigger supermarkets moving out, and that happened in case in point in Clonmel. The Vale of Honey, the centre of the town is falling down around us, and with supermarkets on each corner, and there's no benefit to the town. And I actually believe that some of those got sweet deals in planning, and rates deals and everything else, and the ordinary hard-working business people of the town, and they didn't embrace this as well, and food outside. It's still only the same business really, so they are for extra staff and extra seating, but you know, when you're outside of a fine day, you have to go in of a wet day. So it's important that we would, I suppose, try and nourish it. But it was raised here this morning, I think, in Leah's questions on the order of business, about the over shop fronts or under shop fronts, the dereliction, the spaces there, and the grant aid and support. We're talking about it for 10 years, but it's not happening. And the Creek Conahan schemes and other schemes like that are, like between the main garden, Clonmel, and the West Gate, there's 19 or 20 empty semi-derelict shops. And that's demoralising for the people beside them, who are paying their rates and trying to do business, and people who put outdoor furniture for food outlets and that as well, not so much the pubs. The pubs are struggling anyways, you know. Struggling is the word. COVID has wrecked them as bad as they were. And the folly that you have going on with them to open the pubs all night. I mean, most areas, the Taoiseach talks about full employment, and most companies are struggling to get staff. And if you have people inside in pubs till 5 and 6 in the morning, they're not going to be fit for work or in any state for work. So this is just another fantasy dream that you have for the capital city, I think, to be like other capitals in Europe. But it's not going to. So we have to give that a very, very wide berth. And also, as I said, this issue with the labelling. But getting back to this piece of legislation, I do welcome it. And I do think that you should look at the things in the round, in the streetscape, and the buildings that are there, dereliction. It's not much good having nice ornate chairs and tables and maybe, you know, glass or panels around them for shelter, and maybe the overhead cover when you have a derelict building or semi-derelict building beside it. And that's continuing like that for decades. And for some cases for maybe recent years, but some of them for decades. So we need to look at this in the overall streetscape. We need to look at the bad planning that they did in America and England, and we copied it here in putting all our supermarkets and big chains outside the town centre. It's been a disaster in Clonmel. Tipperary town is the same, and it is really, really badly affected. We have a lovely town of Cahardiniski, Kincairn, where we have a lot of furniture outside. And I compliment the business premises. I compliment the wonderful hotel there. I compliment the tidy towns and all the different groups that are working to make Care Development Association, to make that town a welcoming place, and it is. I live with all the Cashel since the huge investment in the Palace Hotel and the tourists flocking to it since the visit last year of the royal family. It is really been marketed well. A good business, a welcoming place, and getting great reviews. So, but we mustn't forget the other towns that are not in a privileged situation. As I said, we have to tackle the dereliction of sites that are there, long-standing, some of them in the towns, up and down the streets, and try and support the hard-pressed working ratepayers who pay staff, pay insurance, pay tax, pay light, pay heat, pay everything, and give employment and continue to do that on a daily basis. They must be supporters, and they're not getting any supports, meaningful supports. And I asked before for a task force for the likes of Clonmel, where we have huge abandoned sites, shopping centres, and that was in the middle of the town. And then we have Aldi come in recently, or should Aldi or Lidl build up spang new premises. They're welcome too. But maybe they would be better off going into the empty Supercoin site that the late, great former Senator Fergal Quinn designed and built and lifted the town some decades ago, and now it needs to be lifted again. Good.
Thank you very much.